Hello. Funny enough, we don't have a synth cam tonight. If you pass me the cable, Gus, I can do some synth cam. I could do some live synth cam. Thank you, Johnny, for being with us this evening. I'm impressed that you're in the stream right now. That's awesome. In the chat. Amazing. We are definitely taking longer than I thought, and I actually just remembered something I have to do. This is going great. So I'm gonna give the synth cam to Gus. Actually, why don't you use your own phone, because you're already set up for it.
Yeah.
And I'll be right back. So once he gets that set up, we'll do a little synth for a minute, and then you're also impressed. Amazing. And then we'll bring you in. We're just gonna finish up a couple things to get the stream started and make sure everything's working. I think we're getting there. Is it on? Yes! Okay, BRB. I was thinking about how Synth Friends is a thing that we thought we were going to do once or twice, but now we're doing it every week and it's really fun. And I thought, well, we should be having some synth moments at least. So why not kick off the Synth Friends stream today with our fellow Buchla player, Johnny Woods, by playing some Buchla. All right. Welcome in, Obama's Weed Man. So glad you think these streams are fun, because we definitely do. Happy almost weekend. Hope everybody's... If we have any people in Florida that join our streams, or if you know someone or have family there, we've been paying a lot of attention to the Florida storm situation. Just doing some freestyle synth shit right now. Oh, hey.
Hey.
I'm back. Ooh, that was abrupt. Okay, cool. So, welcome in, everyone. Cheers. Happy Thursday. We're having a wine. It's going to be my birthday this weekend, so I'm in pre-weekend celebration mode in my spirit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So thank you all for being here and hanging out with us for these streams this week. I'm considering them all my birthday streams. We're officially in the birthday zone. It's a zone for me, not just one day.
You should be back in the main view.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Hey.
Welcome.
I've had fun despite my sorrow.
Okay.
I'm very sad about Southwest Florida. That's where I went to high school.
I'm getting a birthday cake moment. I just want to appreciate that.
I didn't mean to spoil Jacqueline's birthday just now.
Thank you, everyone, for telling me happy birthday after I pretty much demanded it. I appreciate that.
Happy birthday, Jacqueline. On Sunday.
I'm a little bit of a birthday bitch. So, yes, I'm a little in birthday haze. But I understand that there's storms in Florida that are very sad.
Well,
very
I don't
devastating.
Want to bring the party down. I'm just saying, like,
I'm trying to temper myself.
I'm from there, so it's kind of hard to hold back my emotions about it.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, we're going to bring our synth friend into the chat because we're starting to really get into the hot topics of the day. So we might as well bring him in. So, if you don't know who he is, I'm going to throw his Instagram link in the chat. I don't know if Daniel is here. Daniel is our mod. I haven't seen him in the chat yet, but I'm sure he'll be here or won't, so that'll be okay.
It's Johnny Wood.
Yeah, hold on. Let me, I'm trying to time this. I have a link, okay? I'm trying to time this. It's not working. Okay, there we go. All right, link is going in the chat. Johnny is coming on the screen in 3, 2, and here we are. Welcome in.
Hi, welcome up.
All right, let's make sure that everyone can hear you. Sometimes, let me see. Maybe I think that you're good. I want to make sure we're not too loud and like out of balance. So everyone in the chat, let us know how it sounds. But right now, we are hanging in the live. A new Synth Friends experimental hang. So, tell us a little bit about where you are. I'm going to try to crop this a little bit too while you're talking, if that's not weird.
Cool. I love that. I'm in New Mexico, in northern New Mexico, at my house where I live. It's in a mountain. Everybody always thinks I live in a desert, but people think New Mexico's desert. But it's actually really foresty, and I can show you. Hold on. While you're trying to crop.
I'm like trying to get the most. There we go. I think that's good.
Oh, wow.
We're really quiet now. Okay, let me fix that. See, this is all like, where are you from? How you doing? So we can make sure the audio is working. That was amazing. I'm very into like your space and where you live, but I'm also distracted by the chat and the like making sure our audio balance is good. So I would hate for us to like get an hour into this and then realize that like it sounds like shit. So Grant in the chat says we're quiet now, so I turned us up a little, and I want to make sure that the balance is good. And I think everything is like good on our end. Like our experience of the stream is excellent, so hopefully that's coming through for everyone. So, your space and your instruments. Is this a specific studio space that you're in right now?
Yeah, this is the house is down there, and this is a little building out back that I just finished like 2 months ago. So it's all pretty new, and I haven't actually used it. I use it for my day job, but I haven't used it for music yet. So it's still awaiting to get broken in.
Amazing! Oh yeah. Wow!
Hopefully, what happens?
Absolutely, I'm sure it will at this point.
That's super cool.
You're breaking it in on the stream right now just by showing it off.
That's right. I had all my synths like in boxes, and I took them out just for this, so I could like. I saw this with Kyle, and I was like, it was so cool when he did the like synth reveal. And
Yes.
And you're like, I gotta have that moment.
yeah, I'm gonna steal that from Kyle.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so maybe I'll actually get everything plugged in this weekend. Who knows?
You know, it's you put one foot in front of the other when you're setting up your studio.
And
it's a process for sure.
For those that don't have like a large collection of synths at home, there's a huge divide between that is the synthesizer just set up and the rig set up and the rig cabled. Like there's
two totally different minds.
There's canyons in between those two things.
Although I prefer equipment that has all the cables on the front for that exact reason. If there's cables in the back of something, that means I'm probably not going to plug it in, you know? So,
there's a lot of friction there.
yeah.
No, I think that's wise. Honestly, that's one of the benefits of synthesizers is that you do get that option, you know, a lot of times, especially with modular stuff, you know, everything's on the front. So that's actually a pro that I rarely hear mentioned.
I was just going to say that's never
about
come
modular
up.
in general.
In all of our synth chats so far, no one has brought up the pro
Just
of
that
front patches.
That little bit.
Yeah, cabling on the front. Wow.
The front, power in the rear.
Yeah, because my mixer, for example, that's not really in the shot, like just the corner of it is.
Oh yeah.
Everything's on the back, and it sucks to get to. Like, you know, no matter, I would literally have to leave myself like 2 people length behind it. You know,
to actually be comfortable.
To get behind there and actually like feel comfortable connecting things. I know there's the patch bay.
There is the patch bay. I was going to say that's like one of the stickiest points of studio space is not so much that I need so much space, but like to be able to be comfortable moving around, recabling things.
But I'm a little traumatized. Like I haven't lived in the same place for a long time, for, you know, as long as we have now. Like, so
that's true.
I think the last stage of, and I really, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm having because that was just making me think about the Florida storms and how that must be impacting that part of your experience of life. And then I was like, I don't know, that's kind of personal, but let's keep going.
No, it's okay. I'm really sorry, actually.
No, it's okay. I think I've been trying to wrap my head around like what people are going through, and it's not something I'm going through, and it's like distracting me a little bit. It's intense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should elaborate on that.
Like that was totally derailing this whole situation.
Went to high school in Fort Myers, Florida. You know, as we know, it got hit really bad by Hurricane Ian, and it was a little bit traumatizing to see the footage from that because I lived there during like, I would say probably my most socially active years. You know what I mean? Like
you like drove those streets.
I met and knew and had so many people in and out of my life like while I lived there that like I'm thinking back on it, you know, of course something like this happens and you start reflecting.
I know, like that's what I'm like, that keeps coming in waves. Exactly. It's a very like we're watching it happen live, but we're not there. But like your brain doesn't always know that.
I think I'm I'm really sad for anybody who, you know, obviously lost their home or anything like that or business. But like I was super sad to see the condition of a lot of the bridges and, you know, waterways, islands, like that sort of thing. Like they were all just obliterated. I mean, like, you know, the island of Sanibel and Captiva, like there's like basically no way to get to either of those 2 islands from the mainland right now. And I've never just seen just bridges just ripped apart like that, you know, like I was just blown away, you know, so it's been a rough couple days, you know, having to watch that footage, you know what I mean? Like, and
like check in on family.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any immediate family down there right now.
In Fort Myers,
I do in Daytona, which it also hit after it was scaled back a bit. But I personally don't have any family in that area anymore. Like, but obviously, a lot of my friends, they're on Facebook and people I went to high school with and stuff. I'm seeing, a lot of their woes. It's really. I think that's the worst part about it.
Well, it's like consuming, like they are fully in this experience. It's like disrupted their whole lives, obviously.
Pour one out for those.
And so you're
people.
seeing like so much of that in your feed that it makes you feel like, wait, am I going through this? Like, how do you process that? It's a very weird sort of like meta conversation about like social media.
Especially because it's high school, because like high school is so nostalgic anyway, like that whole, like, TV and movies just reiterate this storyline of everybody's high school experience and, the Wonder Years and like, show after show after show about remember high school forever, so and that's the part of my life that I lived there, so it's like all this is doing is just flooding back the memories of everything I did in high school, and just like literally I feel like I'm moving as slow as that hurricane did through my mind about my experience living there. So I don't want to talk about it anymore.
To get it all out.
I'm really not trying to bring the party down. I'm really sorry that I talked over you.
It's okay.
And I never want to fucking do that again. And it's your birthday coming up, especially not in Libra season. No, bitch. I do not do that. So I just wanted to.
This is so bizarre. Okay.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's Saturday or Sunday?
It's Sunday.
Awesome. That's the best day to have a birthday.
I feel like obviously it's been a while since I've had my birthday be on a Sunday, right? I kind of forgot. I was like, oh, a Sunday birthday. What's that going to be like?
Perfect.
Amazing. You're so right. Thank you. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking some moonshine that my neighbor makes up here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm so glad I asked now.
Yeah, it was a special. I thought I had to drink something special. So he makes his own whiskey. I actually have been learning how from him. So I assisted on this, but I didn't. He's the mastermind. His name is Bill. He is like 72 years old, I think, and he's still like out there cutting down trees and making his own whiskey. And he's an excellent guitar player.
Ooh.
Cool dude. Yeah, cool neighbor. All our neighbors are like 70 here. All our neighbors are in their 70s.
That's amazing.
All 5 of them are.
All 5 of them. Okay.
But yeah.
That's so cool. I have so much like enthusiasm about everything you were saying. Like the fact that you're drinking something you helped to make, super cool.
Yeah, no one's like rolled their own, so to speak.
Yeah, not on this stream, not yet. And your neighbor sounds rad. Like, what a great experience to just have that energy around you. And that you live in this. I think you've talked about it on your social media, like the type of house that you live in.
Yeah, it's well, we're totally off grid. We're like.
As it glitches out.
Oh no, what an interesting moment for it to glitch.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's all like semi, we do solar power, we burn wood for heat.
Okay.
Very passive. And it's cool. We drink rainwater. We, go to the bathroom in a bucket and then dump it out and compost it and, all that stuff. So,
oh, wow. So you're all the way off grid and all of your neighbors are this whole community. That's so, obviously I have questions now about the room that you're in and like being off grid and internet and electronic music and like, what's that like?
It's pretty chill. The cool thing that I didn't realize 100% before I like made the leap was that, synths and electronic music actually is almost no power. Like it's pretty negligible. There's a few things like if you have anything with tubes in it or like high powered mixers or obviously any speakers or amplifiers like that can get pretty intense, but like I can run like all the synths for like days on a single car battery. and it's totally fine.
Wow. So for a whole
buy
day on a
that.
car, okay. That's a really interesting thing that you could, I guess, come up with yourself to figure that out, or go through life in a way that it leads you to have to figure that out.
Totally. Yeah, I was scared. Like when we moved here, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to sell all this stuff and I'm not gonna be able to like really have a, I'll just get like a little laptop and some weird Electron thing or whatever. But then we moved in and I was like, oh, this is fine. Like I can either, like take a shower or run the synthesizers for 14 hours and it's basically the same amount of power. So
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That is a very unique aspect of what's going on in your situation that definitely hasn't come up in any of our conversations yet, about like something that we talk about a good amount of, like, oh, what's living off grid? Like, oh no, we're electronic musicians. That seems incongruent. We can't do that.
Totally. But no, it's like, it's actually really nice. I mean, I haven't run into any issues at all in that aspect. There's other parts of it that are hard, but that's not one of them, thankfully. So
wow, yeah, good point. It doesn't mean that there aren't difficult things. There are different lifestyle things going on, but the electronic music portion of things is humming along.
That's really good to hear.
But it sounds like it makes you really conscious of your usage of everything.
Oh, 100%. It's the power thing, like we're getting to it's fun because in the summer, power is like unlimited. It's like living in, a city or whatever, because there's just so much sun and the days are really long. And then around this time of year is every year we get reminded and we become like really aware that like, oh, we're running, like this is the third morning in a row where we've like run out of power. And we're like, right, we have to start like living the other way where we like unplug everything at night.
Yes.
And start to get like really cautious about what we're doing during the day energy wise. But it's more things like fans and like we have like basic appliances in the house. We're not like totally like cooking on wood stoves and all this shit. We have like a dishwasher and a washing machine,
Amazing.
So those are the things we have to watch more than like, is the Buchla on too long? Actually, I have a cute, if you want to hear a cute story.
Love it.
So I have a 1-year-old baby, and when he
Congratulations.
was born, thank you. When he was born, my wife was like at Target, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get one of these white noise machines," and I was like, "Oh, don't worry, we got white noise machines at home." So I racked up like a little 8-module Buchla.
Yeah. I saw about this. Yes.
Yeah. So it did like slow waves, like slowly modulating white noise, and we left that on every night for the whole night for the first like 4 or 5 months of his life. And then eventually, I was like, maybe I'll just make a recording of this, and we'll just leave it on loop instead of having this thing in our living room. But we could leave it on all night, and it would pull like nothing significant. Even in the winter, we could leave it on all night. The speaker actually pulled probably more than the actual Buchla did. So,
That's fascinating. I do want to say that someone named Bork Korb says, "Hey Johnny." So hey Johnny back. Welcome in, Bork Korb.
But let me check. I closed the chat because I was getting distracted.
It does happen.
But it's cool. People have like all kinds of funny names on the internet, and I think that's great. I use my real name everywhere, and I feel like a dummy for it. But maybe I'll come up with a fake name one of these days. Do you guys have any suggestions?
It's apparently it's someone named Cody.
Oh, what the fuck? I love that guy.
My main advice there would be like, just keep it consistent. It could be something wild, but unless you
needed to be inconsistent,
use the same handle for all of your like whatever presence you want to have,
so that people know who you are like on the internet.
Just keep it consistent.
Giving advice. I do like this idea. Being on Twitch has also made me realize that I'm not having enough fun with using different names on different platforms and having all kinds of fun names. Also using like our real names and stuff. That's such a good point. Yeah. Any suggestions, throw them in the chat.
Right?
Johnny is taking internet name suggestions in this chat. You heard it here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm really curious about your VHS release. We can talk about that, right?
Yeah, please.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so is there a link in your Instagram where people can pre-order it?
Yes. I think
Sweet.
it's the only link in my Instagram.
And it is still
Amazing.
in pre-order status, right?
It is for another week. So
Okay.
I'm releasing, the album will be on all the digital things next Friday. And then, or is that right? No, I think next Wednesday. I don't know. One day next week. And,
Pre-orders open now.
Yeah, pre-orders are open now. And the VHS tape, I think I have maybe 30 left.
Get them while they're hot.
Yeah, but it's I don't actually have them yet, but they should be here hopefully around the time they release. I'm saying that they'll ship October 15th, which is probably pretty realistic. But I'm stoked to see them, to actually see them. Shout out to Cryptic Carousel for duplicating VHS tapes, which is awesome.
That's very cool. Cryptic Carousel.
Yeah, they do cassettes too. And I was stoked to see they did because I've done VHS releases before and I've always duplicated them myself, and it is a total drag. Like,
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So this isn't your first VHS release.
No, this is my third VHS release.
Ooh, so at this point you could be a collector of this series of releases. Do you know anyone else who's done a VHS release? I don't.
I've heard of it a few times here and there, but
we've heard it in the underground, but
yeah,
never had proof.
Well, that's so the last one I did, I think, was 2010 or 2012, somewhere around there. So it's been a while, but there were like a bunch of people back then doing VHS stuff. I don't know, but I think it's died down a little bit. I think horror people still like it. Like horror movies still get.
Oh yeah.
But
definitely, yeah.
It's like
anything horror or death is like VHS or cassette. You know what I mean? Like it's like I feel like that's the medium that anything like just horrifying or gruesome gravitates to.
We're passing these tapes around.
The tapes.
Totally.
The 80s tapes.
Yeah. Well, you guys make like all this fucking cool media whenever you have an album. Like, didn't you do your last one? You did like a reel to reel, right? And a vinyl, and like, it's so cool.
Yeah, it was something that I feel like was sparked by seeing that Dead Media was doing it. Like, we had talked about it, obviously, but when we saw his...
We had a manufacturer in mind.
The way that he packages everything, I was like, oh, yeah, we'll just get one. I thought, we'll just get one. And then all of a sudden, everyone was like, no, but I want one. Yeah. And so we were like, oh, okay, all right, sure, we'll make them. And like, he made a couple more for us. I think he was moving and he found some that he hadn't sent to us. So we had like 2 that he found recently, and then they're gone. So it's this funny thing of like, I guess something that excites me makes sense that other people would be into it. Yeah.
It's such a bummer when you like, now that everything's digital, it's just such a bummer to not have like a thing. When you
sure
you put a lot of work into something and then it's just, I don't know, on Spotify or whatever, and then it disappears at some point. So it's always fun to do. I try to do something for every album that's like actually a physical thing, and wasn't able to do vinyl for this. And VHS seemed more fun than cassettes because I had all these videos I had made for it already, so I didn't have to the videos already existed.
So are those going to be available in a way that people consume if they don't get the VHS?
No, this is what's cool. The backstory is I was doing a TV show. I work in video for a living. And I was doing a TV show, and I did all these visuals for this music because the album is going to be licensed for the TV show too. So I did all these visuals, and then they, like rightfully so, the producers of the show asked for a bunch of revisions, and they wanted things to be like a little bit more like juiced up, which I totally understand and was the right call. So I did new versions, but the OG versions that were like my, like really meditative kind of like spaced out new age version of things will only be on the VHS and will probably never be released any other way. So there's going to be like a different version of the VHS tape that will be on television at some point. But the stuff on the VHS tape, that's probably the only place you'll ever see it.
That is so cool. Yeah. So there's still some, so jump into that Instagram where the link is, everybody, and get that VHS because it's going to be very, very exclusive and limited. Welcome in. Daniel's here. Welcome, Daniel. And Open Set. Wow. Thanks for being here. Talking like visual coolness. We've seen some of it. I don't know if it's like out anywhere in any sort of way for anyone to experience yet. But I was curious if the visuals were generated with the music or, what that process was.
Not really. No, I have a hard time doing that, which is weird. But I think that when like the music comes first, or in that case, especially the music came. And then the visuals, I would like put the music, I just put the whole album on loop in the background. And then the process for generating the visuals is very unpredictable. So typically I would do like a 4 to 6 hour session and maybe get like 15 to 20 minutes of good stuff. But you don't ever really know where it's going to happen. So I just...
That sounds like my music render ratio.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. And it's the same with the music. Like I get everything, like I get a situation set up and then I just like, it's probably a little, maybe like 4 to 6 hours with the music where like, and then at some point I hit record and then I'm like, and then, reconfigure some things, hit record again. But yeah, I think it's the thing I'm like interested in creatively at this point in my life is like finding things rather than making things. So
yeah.
And with the videos, it's a lot trickier because it's those videos are all made with video feedback, which is, for those of you who don't know, when you just point a video camera at a monitor, and you don't. It's by nature a chaotic operation, so it's impossible to predict what's going to happen. There's so many things that like would be really cool for like 8 seconds, but then you're like, God, but I need like 3 minutes of it. How do I get that back? And you can just never get it back.
Right.
But yeah, so it's just a lot of like trial and error. So if I tried to actually like play a song and be like, all right, let's nail this take, it would just never ever happen. So when I'm editing, I'll move some things around or like cue things to start at certain points in music, but there's no direct like maybe someday, like when I'm retired, I'll build a whole system where like I can orchestrate all the video and the audio synths all at the same time to like thing, but I don't have the time to do that. But in like 25 years, that shit's gonna be lit.
Yeah, it's like a process to create the process.
Right.
Totally. That sounds awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a thing you have to like really just get into a zone.
1,000,000%.
I can imagine
like that. I think to me at this point in my life, that's the whole point of doing it, is just enjoying that experience where like your whole brain shuts off, and you're just like, you're in it, it's a lot like meditation or like hunting or like other things where you just need to like kind of be very still and very careful and pray, for luck.
Do you hunt?
I do. I'm not like good at it, but I enjoy it. I have to go with people who are more knowledgeable than me. Like I can't just, take off and hike through the woods and do the thing. But I do really, yeah, it's fun. I like almost anything where you sit quietly and silently for long periods of time.
What about fishing?
I don't know how to fish. I would love to. There's like a river right there.
Oh wow!
Apparently it has like outstanding trout fishing, but I need someone to teach me. So
if I ever came to visit you, I would want to go fishing.
Oh, please come. We got a bed. There's a bed right here.
Oh wow!
Love me.
Studio bed.
Yeah, you teach me how to fish. I don't know what I'll do for you in return.
Well,
sleeping.
No return deed necessary. I just, that would be my way of like
going fishing with him would be the thing. That would be the exchange.
Exercising something that I got. That was actually what I did a lot of in Florida. When I lived in Florida growing up was fish. So and I would actually go to North Carolina sometimes because my buddy had like his grandparents had a place in the mountains with like a trout lake, like a trout pond where it was stocked, and we'd like catch trout all day. But like I also did river fishing and fly fishing and stuff like that. So like I don't know, I haven't done it in a while, so I might be a little rusty, but I could at least like. We might catch something. It's
been like only a couple years, to be fair.
Yeah, and it's like riding a bike. Like I definitely did it my whole life.
Yeah, so he's undercutting himself. He would be able to definitely give you a good time. I feel like.
Well, come on out, y'all.
I hadn't thought of. I wasn't imagining where you live being a place to fish.
I know everybody, it's the weirdest thing, but people here in New Mexico and they just imagine like white sands or like, outside Albuquerque where it's just dusty.
Yeah.
No, it's really nice here. And it's where I live in the Rocky Mountains. We're like at the very southernmost point of the Rockies.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a lot more like what people think of as Colorado is basically where I live.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm starting to be able to picture this.
Yeah, we've definitely traveled through that part of the country.
Yeah, it's amazing there, but it can get really cold too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're a little bit lucky because there's so much sun.
Right.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I'm going to refresh my drink.
Oh, okay. We should just have the bottle in here. We, I believe this is a Pinot Noir that we're drinking from France.
Oh, Burgundy? Or...
I don't know. It just said Pinot Noir in France.
Perfect.
It's real detailed.
You know it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mysterious.
Totally.
Jeez.
I was going to say, I'm actually good, but you could just bring it in here so you don't have to leave to refill it.
Yeah, you're right.
I hadn't thought of that, of course. Yeah. Bring the wine to you. Okay. So what's the like swing? Like it gets really hot. You said it's like the sun is pretty intense most of the year. I would imagine it gets pretty hot in the summer then.
Yeah, it does. It gets pretty hot. The sun's just, because we're up high, so the sun's closer, and it's also just like out all the time. So this is like one of the sunniest places in America.
That's amazing. So I didn't know that. I would not have known that. The specific geography of where you are creates the opportune sun experience. We are in a really interesting little pocket of gloom.
Yeah.
So when we get a little bit of sun, it's like we do a sun dance and we, celebrate and,
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're very fortunate to be here, but yeah, it's nice to get a lot of sun, but it's also like just always in your face and
yeah, that's a really
studio.
good point. It has its own
Yeah.
kind of anything constant
Totally.
is
And I
gonna.
haven't figured out how to like regulate this building yet, so it's like really uncomfortably hot most of the time. But we'll see what happens. I'm hoping it stays hot in the winter, but we'll see.
That would be the best case scenario, because
Yes,
a really bright with like snow. I mean, that's the coziest shit I can possibly imagine.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the way our house is built, it's all south. The house is south facing, and it's all windows. On
That's
south
brilliant.
wall. So we don't have to heat. If the sun's out, we don't have to heat the house in the winter, no matter how cold it gets. It stays like 70 to 80 degrees in the house, just from the sun hitting the floor and heating up the floor, and then the floor like radiates heat out. It's cool. If you ever get the chance to live in an Earthship in northern New Mexico, I would highly recommend it. It's fun.
We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah. I can tell you all the bad stuff. You want to hear all the bad stuff, though?
Yeah, I mean, I was
it's like, tell me all the reasons not to buy an Octatrack.
I was like very deep. I was very deep on the Earthship tip. I'm trying to think, probably in like 2013, 2014, where I was so deep, I was finding like local newspaper articles about the bad stuff. I was like trying to really.
I was talking to all my friends about it.
I was like going to sign up. I was going to build them. I was like ready to go. But then I feel like something happened in our lives and I like couldn't do it. But I let the bad stuff kind of convince me like, that's okay. You missed it. That's fine. But
yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, my wife got bit by a black widow this week.
Oh my gosh. I'm assuming she's okay.
She's getting there. It's quite a healing process, but
wow.
For one thing, like when that stuff happens, you just have to shut everything down and be like, all right, fuck it, you gotta get this taken care of. So we drove her to the ER, and fortunately it wasn't too bad, and she's medicated, and she's like really tough, so she's working through it. But bugs, you just can't get rid of bugs. There's like, you live in a ecosystem,
right?
And there's no way without like constant vigilance. There's no way to keep, and the spiders are like kind of easy to keep at bay, but like we get these centipedes that are like this long that bite, that just show up every once in a while, and there's wasps, and there's we try to control those things, but there's always just going to be like living creatures in your house. And sometimes you get little lizards, which are really cute.
I'm here for the lizards, but the centipedes can kick rocks, as Gus would say.
Black widows. May I ask, like, how or what, like, do you mind going over the incident?
No, it's pretty. My wife, I hope she's not watching right now, so I'm not like re-traumatizing.
Oh.
You don't have to, but I kind of want to know.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the classic Black Widow story. She was getting pants out of the closet, and she just didn't look in the pants and put them on, and there was a Black Widow in her pants. So it like crawled out through the waistband and bit her, I think 2 or 3 times. And then she thought it was the baby, because the baby was right next to her. She thought it was the baby like poking her, because he likes to poke people with his sharp fingernails. But then she just down, smashed it. And the weirdest thing is, I didn't know this, but when you get bit by a Black Widow, the first thing everybody asks you, like everybody we talk to who are like, what should we do with the people at the ER? Everybody is like, do you have the spider? That's like the first question. And I was like, no, I didn't know we were supposed to bring the spider. But just so everybody out there knows, if you get bitten by a spider, keep the spider, because apparently that helps somehow.
I think I remember this because Gus's mom is an ER nurse, and I remember her saying, like, if you have the thing, that way we can confirm it and know what antivenom or whatever to give you. Because, you know, everybody thinks they know, but it's better to be sure.
Right, and it may matter male versus female.
Ooh, that's a good point. Wow, so doctors even have to know about that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like an episode of House, like a doctor that would know all the different kinds of bites and stuff.
Originally that was probably like a very common
that's probably that's
way
what
that
medicine
people
was
died,
mostly.
You know? The medicine man could keep you from dying from the snake bite.
Yes. So it sounds like you live in an area where that's like a present experience.
Yeah, we have a lot of scary insects and bears, mountain lions, rattlesnakes. There was a rattlesnake like living under my studio for a couple weeks, which was not pleasant, but you seem to mosey along.
Oh, you just sort of like let him be, and he eventually just went on his own.
Yeah, I haven't got like snake catching is a skill I know I need to learn, but it's not. I don't feel rattlesnake confident yet with the snake catching skill.
Rattlesnake confident is like on the scale.
Yeah, I know. I think the Zoom is going to end.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, we'll hop out and in.
Okay, see y'all in a minute.
Okay, I have to end for all and then jump in again. We can do this.
I was gonna say.
Let's see. Oh, Open said, I'm sorry you were stuck in ads. I was actually experiencing like a weird ad glitch on a lot of the streams I was watching this week, where it would be like starting soon, an ad, and then another ad, and then I don't know. It just felt like it was weird. But hopefully that's not like something we set up that was making that experience for you. But welcome in. Oh my goodness. So we've talked a little synth. We've talked a little weather. I think we've covered all the scary bugs. Thank you for telling me that, because that's not something that came up in my research, but that would be my number one reason to be like, cool them out.
Yeah, the bugs are inescapable.
Yeah, because like bugs, like, you know, creepy crawly whatevers, I'm like, that's fine. I understand. Like, I live in an environment. There's bugs. They exist. Bees, that sort of thing. You know, keeping them at bay, avoiding them. They're not like in my house, like swarming me or whatever. But there's certain things like a black widow or a biting centipede that I'm just like, that's my line. That's it. That's my line right there. So
then you couldn't even live in Hawaii.
No, I know. You reminded me that like yesterday. You were like, oh, remember those biting centipedes that our friend...
Venomous centipedes.
Our friend told us, yeah, Hawaii is amazing, except sometimes we have these venomous centipedes that like to be in your covers. Like,
nice.
That's where he usually finds them, and they are venomous biting centipedes. And I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, it's basically the centipede from the game Centipede.
Yeah.
Plus the spiders are just massive. They're so big.
Yeah. We don't have flying bugs. That's kind of where I draw the line. It's
ooh,
like
that's good to know.
Bugs,
mm-hmm.
I'm out. Flying biting or just large. We only have moths, and that's delightful. So,
moths are great.
That's another thing about the Florida storm. The mosquitoes are going to be out of control because of all the water everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but mosquitoes, a dense mosquito situation is not fun. But that's a situation
that it's not the season, and they're also very well versed in that, keeping mosquitoes at bay.
That's a good point.
In that area specifically, they would do treatments constantly.
That's true.
In Lee County, so I'm not too worried about that. But like, it was just another layer of the destruction.
There's so many layers to what happens when that water comes in and sits like it is. Mm-hmm. But you get a good bit of snow, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's cool. Does that make it so that you're pretty much like self-sufficient? Like you can't really drive the mountains in the snow?
Yeah, when winter comes, we tend to stock up a lot more, and we go to town a lot less. and yeah, it's pretty hard to get out of here, but it usually melts pretty quick. But that's my favorite time of year, like when we get like snow days, like legit, because it kind of shuts down the house. Like power goes out, internet usually goes out, and I just have to kind of, it's nice. We just get to read books and.
That's a legit snow day. That's
totally, yeah. It's like really shut down, and I think that's my favorite time since I've been here. Like musically, I do very little in the summer. Like this is why like nothing in here is hooked up yet. It's just, I don't know. It's for some reason, it's hard for me to do it during daylight hours. So in winter, when like the sun goes down at like 4, I'm like, all right, fucking synth time. Let's do this. So this record that's coming out now was mostly made last winter. Because that's just my time.
That's cool. We blacked out the window in this room. So this came up in one of our recent chats, was the idea that like we set this up for live streaming, but then realized like, oh no, this is just how I want it to be when I'm like creating.
Yeah.
Like I need the moodiness. I need the darkness.
Yeah.
But it was all just to like be able to control lighting. And then I was like, oh no, I just like being able to escape into this room and in this darkness.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is it's so important to have like a vibe, in your creative space. And it's really tough when you're figuring out, like I've just been figuring out this new place. And this is also where I like work. So it's got like all the dirty work vibes, and I need to figure out how, how to do all that.
How to separate. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's something about like when there's snow on the ground, like that's my like ultimate creative space.
Oh yeah. I know, we were just saying like, oh, it's getting a little chilly. I'm so excited when it's like we're camped out and all we can do is just create music, and like, because you can't really like force the energy of commerce and busyness and work stuff like when everybody's kind of in that shutdown mode. So you get kind of that rush of free space to kind of just play and see what happens. Like you were saying, like finding the sound rather than making music.
Totally. And it gets so quiet when like the summer here is really loud because there's birds and insects and there's like just all kinds of stuff. And then the winter comes and everything's dead. Everything is silent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's such a good point. There's like layers to these seasons that we feel like intrinsically. And you can point to like all these reasons why. Like you were saying, like the sun being out longer just keeps you in that elevated state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you have less of a window to be in. Yeah. And to have that inch into your like work day means, it's a little bit more inviting. But the solitude, the stillness, right? Like there's not going to be bugs.
Yeah.
There's just going to be like stillness. Yeah. It's great. It's really good to focus on those positives.
Oh yeah.
Because there's
it's so important to like tune with seasons. And that was the first thing my wife and I both realized after we started living up here is like you can't avoid it. Like I think you can live anywhere and like promote tuning with the seasons, but living here you can't avoid it. Like you have to contend with the seasons in a way that I think is really nice. I think there's something really beneficial about it for mental health and for just overall physical health and just for being a person.
Yeah, I can relate. Like I was actually talking today about how I'm really getting used to a seasonal change, whereas growing up in Florida, that's not something that I had. And, so I've lived in like the Northern Virginia area and I've lived in LA, but living in Indiana is the first time that I've felt like, I actually get like a full round of...
It slaps you in the face. Like it comes in real strong, like all of a sudden, like it was 90 last week and now it's in the 40s.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Strong seasons.
And you're like, oh, okay. I thought we were going to ease into it, but I guess not.
But I, aside from climate change, I really like it. Like I'm starting to get used to it, and I am allowing it to like sort of inform my, like seasons of productivity.
Yes.
And like I'm starting to sort of feel like more of a rhythm to my life because of the seasons. And I never really understood what that meant, because like my mom would talk about that. She actually grew up in this area, in like the, Indiana, Illinois area. And
she talks about that a lot.
She would say that the seasons are, really how you...
Sorry, check for we talked about Gus's mom in a stream. It
right.
happens so often.
It's like I got to drink to that. It is pretty often.
But it does come to mind because she talked about it so much, about how she...
You know what I'm saying.
She loved living in the DC area because it reminded her she got to have seasons again, like the way she grew up, versus living 30 years in Florida. So, it makes sense that she would bring it up. But growing up in that area as well, living here, the seasons are so much more like extreme. And it's like, I thought I had been prepared because I've experienced all the seasons, but it was definitely a more mild transition and more mild swings. And like here, it definitely, the length of time that you don't have sun, like the days get shorter and darker, like so much faster here. Because we're close to, I guess you would say we're in northern Indiana. So like we're inching our way towards that line where the shift happens. So it's just a little bit further north than what I'm used to. And it just, like I said, it comes in so fast. And then you realize that like you don't have as much control. It's like a flash flood.
The seasons come in like a flash flood.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I have to bend myself to this. Like I can't fight against nature. It's happening to me and I have to accept it. And then like the things you learn about, rhythm from that has been really interesting for us.
But then embracing it, like just really learning to like see it for only the positives, like literally only the positives. Like that's the way to truly appreciate it, because like every season's going to have its downsides, but if going through it in the day to day, you think like, I'm going to appreciate the elements of winter and the fucking cold that make my life better. You're gonna have a much easier time getting through it, like why think about any negative aspect of something you have completely, no
yeah, it's because we have no control. That's why.
Like there's no point.
Yeah, I mean it's the rhythm thing though, because we're not machines. We're not
right.
We're not designed to like have an identical 8-hour day of work and this and that, and we kind of live in a system that expects that from us, like. Just let's make our daily experience as consistent as possible throughout the year, so the lights come on at the same time and go off and all this stuff. But I think it's really damaging. I think the thing about the seasons that's helpful is that your rhythm changes. So your daily rhythm gets totally modified as the
it does.
Seasons change. And if you're doing something like one of the fun things about doing music, I think, is there's the actual making music part of it, which, as you guys know, is about 10% of the overall endeavor, and the rest is like marketing it and thinking about like all these other things. And then also just thinking about like, what the fuck do I want to do next with music? Because usually that's the biggest, I can make an album in like 3 days, but it's going to sound exactly like the album I made last week if I have to do that. So having these like longer rhythms of being like, okay, well, this album's going to take a year. I'm going to spend probably a total, maybe 16 days actually making music. But all the other stuff is important too, and I think the seasons are a really good metaphor for that. So like, there's just times you have to do different things and live a different way. And I think that's really valuable and like inherent to who we are as humans, but we don't really get told that that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I do find that I see that theme in a lot of the sci-fi movies that we watch.
Yeah, totally.
The like taking the machine too far.
Yep. And
how like just the organic nature and the mysterious nature of like who we are, why we're here, Are we the aliens?
Yeah.
I have more important questions than like how much more efficient I can be at commerce.
Yeah, I know, right? But like that's what makes you valuable to the world. So there's like a trade-off. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I do. It's funny because like I live here off grid and you know in the mountains and build synthesizers and play with them and whatever. But like I also work for Amazon. Like I have like a totally normal, you know.
Thank you, Amazon, for hosting this platform.
Yeah, right. Like I have a totally normal day job where I participate in efficient commerce. You know.
That wasn't even a segue, I swear.
Totally, but it's true. You know, you got to do something.
Yeah. I say that as someone who is doing that, of course.
Of course, yeah, we have to. It would be nice if we didn't, but even in this like semi-idyllic, like off-grid lifestyle, I still have to work for the worst company in human history.
I love the way we brought that full circle.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yep. We came all around.
I like it because the thing we've found, obviously, like we called this Synth Friends because we were like, we have all these Synth Friends on Instagram, mostly Instagram or YouTube. And now we have Synth Friends on Twitch, but this is how it formed.
Yeah.
And we were like, but like all we know is each other's like what shot we use when we film our synths.
Or what our hands look like.
What our hands look like.
Totally.
So we're like, okay, we're not going out in the world yet because every time a big artist announces a tour, 5 seconds later, they're canceling it. So I'm like, if they can't handle it, I'm definitely not ready to be out there. So what if we just invited people onto our Twitch, which we're already doing for said reasons? And we keep finding like all of these like variations of lives that we've thought about living or have lived or, you know, different seasons we've been in. Like we're all sort of experimenting with not just music, but our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, so how you're in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
And how long have you been there? What brought you to Indiana? Because that's such like I mean, I love Indiana. I think it's beautiful, but it seems like that.
You're the second person to ever say that on planet Earth.
Do you want to give him the rundown?
No, there's one other person.
So much grass.
I can think of one other person who said that to me in response to me saying that I moved to Indiana. And yeah, those times really stick out to me because I'm like, what part are you seeing that I haven't seen? But we live in northern Indiana, like directly in between Chicago and Detroit. Like almost perfectly. So we moved here in 2019, like 2 months before the pandemic. It's like right at the end of 2019. We were living in Brooklyn and like it just happened to be when the lease was up, you know, it was just one of those timing things. And we were like, I guess this is what's happening. You know, we want to spend more time on music, less time on the subway. You know, let's find a place that has certain criteria. XYZ, open the map, open Zillow. Let's look at what we can figure out, you know? We didn't really know what was going to happen, but we just kind of did that until we narrowed it down to what we felt like was the right thing. And then we came out here and like just met a realtor and like found a house and like it all just happened in like 2 days. And it was like right before COVID hit and like the market here was already like the way it was during COVID. So it was that same experience of like everyone was bidding on the same houses and outbidding each other. And so like we were right on the cusp of that experience already. And then obviously COVID happened. So like we kind of have had this weird experience, but we've heard a lot of other people say the same thing. It's like, we're not the only people who bought their first house right before COVID, you know? So I've definitely heard other people explain that they feel kind of disconnected from where they live because it's just a different, like this town is not the same town it was when we moved in. It just isn't. Like the people are moving in and out. People have passed away. People's lives are forever changed. So it's just been a really interesting experience, which I think a lot of people can relate to in whatever version of that. But we always, you know, we were playing that game of like, one of these days we'll be back to something, you know, you just sort of start to trail off
Totally.
And you realize like, no.
Right, yeah. You get a few activities deep and then you're like, but
no.
that could easily change.
We've dabbled in trying like normalcy, and it just hasn't really vibed. So when we started doing Twitch, we were like, damn, this like is awesome for like more than just COVID reasons.
Yeah. We found quite the community. Doing music on Twitch has been like, I don't know, it almost feels like...
Ooh, what's he going to say?
I was going to say what it felt like to me when I started playing in bands in high school.
I don't know what that feeling is, but feel free to
in the sense
elaborate.
That it's exciting to just get on a stream and see what happens, and there's people there, and, like you can be as weird and as, experimental as you want, and everybody's really supportive of it. And like, I've been hearing this a lot about, the synth community in general, and I agree. But I would say Twitch sort of feels like that on overdrive, because like we're just constantly getting new feedback, like new audiences, and new people coming in and appreciating like, just
it's just the level of positivity from internet. Like I'm not used to that.
A bunch of different interests.
The way it feels
interest
like
groups are sort of colliding.
Like every like group or niche we've found on Twitch is like very warm, very welcoming, very like, these are real people. Like people are putting themselves on the internet. It's not like they're hiding behind typing. So,
well, oddly enough, this is my first time on Twitch. One of the things about living here is we've had terrible internet until like 3 weeks ago. We couldn't stream.
That's so crazy.
Either like we couldn't outgo or incoming stream. So I feel like, obviously the COVID thing was different for me than for most people because of where I live. But like, I think one of the big differences was I didn't get to participate in like any of the online stuff. That like really blew up during COVID. And now, just as of a few weeks ago, I'm like, oh, this stuff's all pretty, like, the Twitch thing's pretty cool. So it's fun to be here and to be trying it out. And I'm excited to, like, explore more.
Hell yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yesterday I was going through, like, all y'all's previous Twitch things. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, they're just fucking rocking out on synths, having a good time, drinking some wine. Like,
yes. Oh my God. It's so anything you want it to be. Yeah. And like the more people we find, the more fun we have. So like there's a guy who, his name is Sid. If anybody knows Sid, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. And he's just wild, just like building modules or playing stuff or repairing things, like, but educating, playing with the chat, it's just very engaged. And I think that's what we like the most about it, is that it's we're getting to have that experience of what it feels like when you perform, which also cannot be like experienced any other way. But at the same time, the fourth wall is gone. So like you're performing, but you're having a conversation at the same time with everyone and like hanging out, and it's its own thing. It's like beyond like,
and just it's like performing. Honestly, there's more pros than there are cons in terms of like what it feels like compared to like old shows. For example, like, it feels like a show without the extreme like anxiety and worried about like, just being like I'm the kind of person that like when I play at a venue, like no matter how many times I've been playing or whatever, I get a little bit more warmed up if I'm on like a tour or something, but like I get a lot of anxiety. Like I'm like terrified of the audience, you know what I mean? And like, so.
Oh, I think it's more that like you're out of your element and you don't know if the sound check is going to be successful.
The sound as an electronic musician, like, coming up through the years that I did, like it's just been so bad. It's so hard to get sound engineers to like transition out of like mixing metal to like, to like, making like getting a synth to sound good in a room or whatever, like, you know, getting the right amount of bass and highs and everything. Basically treating it like I'd be like, treat it like a DJ. Like, I just need full frequency range, you know? Like, I will take care of all the hard shit. Like, just let me, like, have the spectrum. Don't do shit to my shit. And
that's very hard to get people to do for some reason.
You know, like getting over that whole hump and, like, you know, just, like, not worry. You know, I get to come through my favorite mixer and, like, you know, directly into the computer, and, like, people get to hear what I'm hearing, and, like, that's just so exciting to me.
Totally. I know. I gotta try it. It's like, I used to do a lot of live performances and stuff, and I love being on stage. Like, I think I'm the opposite.
Quick
like,
pause. I'm so sorry. A friend in the chat, Helper Monkey, he has to run, but I did notice, I was trying to catch up on the chat here, that he just shouted out your album Pavilions and said it changed his life, and he's very excited to meet you over the internet. So I figured it was worth interrupting you to say that.
Oh, tell him to, like, hit me up on whatever platform, and I love talking to people who like the music, and I'm always happy to talk. That's why I do this. It's not like a career or anything. Like, I'm
no, don't look me directly in the eyes.
Yeah, but talking about music is my favorite thing to do, and hit me up, and I'll talk to you as much as you want about that album, because I love it. I'm proud of it.
I feel the same. It's a great album. Helper Monkey, hopefully you were here long enough to catch that. If not, I'll make sure you know.
Yeah, we need, like, a bam, 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 bam for that comment. Like, that was awesome.
I also appreciate his support of my rant about the Midwest weather. That was very appreciated. Thank you, Helper Monkey. So we were talking about performing live. So it's cool to hear that you also really like being on a stage, because that's not everybody's bag, and it's definitely ours.
I get, like, it would be, and it's weird because I stopped that, like, a long time ago, like way before COVID, like probably years ago was the last time I think I was on stage doing anything. But, like,
did we have another glitch out?
Oh, sorry. Do we glitch?
It was so crazy how, like, peacefully you, like, turned to the side and it just froze.
I'm sorry.
It was like a statue. So cool.
Yeah, but I don't know. I found being on stage to be very, like, a meditative experience, or like a very spiritual experience. Spiritual,
I agree with that. It's like a heightened experience that really each time is also unique. Also.
Totally. And, like, your whole body, for me, like, my body and my mind entirely shut down except for the parts that are needed.
Yeah.
And those parts come into, like, hyper focus. And it's a really specific experience that I don't know I've had any other way. But and I don't think I'll ever have again. But I really, like, that shit was really nice.
Dude, I disagree with that. Now that you've got the good internet, I think you're going to start streaming, and you're going to understand that it gives you a similar experience.
No, I don't think it's possible. I mean, maybe, like, in some ways, but
there's something about pressing that button and being live.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
It gives you that same little jolt of something. And when people start interacting and giving you feedback in real time, and it all becomes like the experience of what you're doing couldn't exist without the response and the feedback loop that's happening.
Totally.
So it gets to be its own kind of spiritual experience. Not like, I mean, obviously this is really fun and a spiritual experience in its own way, but when we play and we get to that space where we're, like, actually, you know, in the performance zone.
Totally.
We steal it when we're going live.
I think I got ruined. Because I played with this one band, and we played for, like, 100,000 people at festivals. And once you walk out on stage and you just see, like, the horizon is just people.
Yeah, that's very different.
Yeah, and, like, coming back from that and being like, oh, maybe I'll stream. I think it's different. And I think the thing that's exciting to me potentially about live streaming is that like the quiet, that like you can be simultaneously performing for people and be in quiet.
Mm-hmm.
That is a choice. Yeah, definitely.
Or like there's not distractions. There's not like the shitty sound guy who you had a bad interaction with.
Exactly. Those are
That's
the
why
pros.
I brought that up specifically. Yeah.
Those are the pros for sure.
Yep.
Huge pros to us. Like the edge that takes off.
Yeah.
Is so nice. It feels much more like of a contained experience that you can just allow that creativity to happen. I completely agree with that.
I've had the Seas of People experience as well, but like with other auxiliary acts that I've done, and it is like its own thing. Like I will say that it is, I get what you're talking about exactly.
Absolutely.
Like it is like, it'll make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up.
Yeah.
And I do like that about it. And do miss that about it, and don't ever think I'll get that again. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to say that necessarily, but like, it just seems like those scenarios happened at a time in my life when I was doing things completely differently than I am now.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different kind of music, but you
different everything.
You get
my
into
network, the whole 9 yards.
A different like part of yourself to be able to experience that for sure.
But I know what you mean, and like, I will say that Twitch for me, like, it has been an experience where like I feel like I've only had positive, you know what I mean? Like
I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
So huge with playing live. I feel like, the positives are huge. They're super high.
Yeah, because I get to like keep my same lifestyle, my same quality of life.
Yeah.
Like that's huge.
But then there's a pretty big con list,
But the cons of like, the kind of community experiences you have, the kind of like travel experiences that you have. I mean, that's still something that I want to do.
The politics of it all, like where you're at on the tour and yada, 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 and like where you're at on the bill and who your manager is. And
stuff doesn't always end up being what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
I mean, age too plays. Like I'm 42 now. When I was like, 28, if somebody was like, "Hey, I'll pay you $500 to fly to Chicago for the weekend and play Lollapalooza and then fly home," I'd be like, tight. If you told me that now, I'd be like, I got a lot of plans this week. I don't know. I got to chop some wood and I don't want to finish building these synthesizers over here. It's like not as.
It's not as alluring, yeah.
Right. Like if I was given the same opportunities now, I would take them. and I think that's.
And they would be experienced differently.
Right. Yeah.
You would definitely, your body would have a very different experience.
Yes, it would. My body has different experiences like every day now. Turning 40.
Every day is different.
Yeah. I'm like, what's this? What's my foot doing all of a sudden? It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I are very similar in age, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. But it's
totally
nice, like having you guys seem like in a similar space where you're in a, you just have a house that you're going to live in for the foreseeable future. And you just start making things nice and like getting your studio together and like have a nice time doing it. There's no industry. I would choose any other industry over the music industry as like a way to make a living.
Yes.
But music itself is a beautiful thing, and it should just be a part of people's lives in a way that I obviously see it's very much a part of yours, like a part of your relationship, which is super fucking cool.
It's
this incredible thing, and it gets, I think, cheapened and often ruined by the industry around it. So,
we
make money.
we definitely have those conversations. When we lived in LA.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been a minute though. I feel like we had those conversations in Los Angeles more than.
No, I was gonna say we have those conversations about how grateful we are for the way things are.
Mm-hmm.
And when we lived in LA, like everyone around us was like, don't do it. And so it was like, yeah, like we had some pretty cool experiences because we were there, because like most of the industry is like, hey, you over there, come stand on this stage here. You know,
Right.
It's very much like who's nearby.
Yeah, you guys have been around, you know, like
You're nearby.
you
I
can
need
start
something
playing
right
here
now.
Like,
So there's a
yeah.
lot of that will just happen. And then the other side of it is just like people that you're around are in various stages of the life cycle of the industry. So you get to see people who've already been spit out by it, people who are hopefully in the stages of it happening to them, and people who are in the grind of it, and people who are trying to get in it, and like all the ways that everyone's trying to make ends meet and make things happen, and also stay like creative and inspired while you're also having your brain warped by everything that's around you.
people who have it super well but only complain.
I mean, it's just a whole grab bag of stuff, but like the things that we talk about now are just everything you were saying of like how we can choose to live our lives however we want. And I definitely think that, you know, the past couple of years has like really driven that point home.
Yeah.
That like we just happened to get into this situation right before all that happened. So like it's really easy for us to be pretty grateful for having that be our circumstances. And even though there were definitely moments where it was like, this is like pretty isolating. I don't know about this. I don't know. It's become so normal now. And I think part of it too, like to bring Twitch back into it, it's definitely helped. Like, I think, you know, we get to have interaction, especially these kinds of calls. Like when we're streaming with other people, it takes it to that next level of interaction, but also like has given us like a routine of interacting with people on a regular basis, like structure to that. Whereas when, you know, when we're just like out here being independent musicians and working from home and stuff, it's like, who's to say what's going on from day to day?
For Twitch?
Like there's just, there's just a real fluid situation there around like, you know, what you're accomplishing and what your intentions and purposes are. So, you know, just my commercial for Twitch that it saved my life. And
without Twitch,
it gave me purpose.
I probably would have started a pillow company.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh boy, that was a long ass Twitch rant. Bringing it back home, I noticed that we're at the 4 minutes left in the stream. So I want to make sure that we, you know, drop your Instagram link again in the chat here for everybody to give Johnny a follow.
One question I had though before we end this was that was there a factor in you doing a VHS project this time involving the better audio quality of VHS versus like some of the other pseudo analog formats?
No, I mean, I picked VHS because I know people won't buy DVDs because they're stupid. So it was like, that was pretty much it. But that is VHS sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I think most people don't know that, but it's like the best. People used to master to VHS tapes before, like when DATs were like really expensive. They do sound fantastic. And I played in a band in my 20s, you know, so this is back in the mid 2000s, and we ran all our backing tracks off of VHS tapes because they just sounded so fucking good live. Computers like weren't really there yet, and we like tried CDs, and we were like, the VHS sounded so much better. So
yes, you have that like OG analog cred. You were playing VHS backing tapes live.
Yes, I have plenty of OG cred. I have more than I need, but yeah, and I love VHS. I think I used to have a VHS until I lived in Los Angeles for a long time also, and I had a VHS edit bay in my apartment.
Oh wow!
And I used to make because I used to do like just weird video stuff before I had to, support a family and everything. And I would do like everything on VHS tape and edit on VHS, and it was really fun. So this is like a fun throwback project for me.
Incredible. So everybody, new album from Johnny on VHS. Use the link in the chat to go grab that. It's in pre-order right now. I did want to say, I always got to bring it back to our very first synth friend that we ever had, Grant Bouvier, aka MIDI Lizard.
The OG,
he just
the
came
Kevin
up for
Bacon.
me. So I don't know if you know him, but like he's doing some cool visual work that he pairs with his synth music. And so I just wasn't sure if your worlds had collided yet.
No. I don't collide with much these days.
You don't collide with much.
Well, if you do happen to collide with the MIDI Lizard, because I feel like you two could collide in a cool way.
Yeah, he was definitely sharing some thoughts on just the community of, as we have this last minute left, just the community of people who are doing like DIY video creation stuff. I don't know. I don't have the right words for it right now, but you know what I'm talking about. Similar to the modular community in like being helpful and supportive and sharing ideas and materials and stuff like that. So I wasn't sure if you guys were connected. Thank you so much for joining us on this
Thank you for having me.
live stream.
I hope you can come out to New Mexico sometime.
Thank you so much for the invite. I feel like we're officially Synth Friends now.
Are we? No. Are we Synth Friends? Like we put the person on the spot typically.
It's a thumbs up. It's a double thumbs up.
Oh yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Okay, we're Synth Friends with you.
Amazing. It's official. All right.
Next time we'll actually talk about synthesizers.
There we go. Right? This always happens. That's why I say like we always end up talking about anything but synths because that's already like the expected thing. It's so funny.
With being a synth friend is great responsibility. So
we do appreciate if you recommend a synth friend for us to reach out to, but we lost him. Okay, but that was a funny way to end. Yeah. That was a funny way to end, to say like with being a synth friend comes synth responsibility. We'll have to make sure you follow Johnny on Instagram right there. That I would say like is probably his main hub, and Bandcamp. And it sounds like his new album is on pre-order, maybe on Bandcamp for those VHSs, which I highly recommend. He gave us a sneak peek of the visuals and everything, and I think you're gonna really love it. Super meditative, really quality. His style, I think, is very, very pleasing to the ear. Enjoyable synth music, not like that meme that I put up recently of how we all spend hours just to make the most obnoxious noise you've ever heard. That would not be what Johnny Woods is up to. Do I have any announcements to make? I think just that our new episode of the Cosmic Tape Music Club podcast came out this week, or this past week. I don't even know what day it is. This week. It came out this week. Oh my God. So if you're into Stockhausen or just curious what we're doing with the podcast, you can check that out. Maybe I'll drop a link to podcast. Thank you all for hanging out with us while we got to know another synth friend, and I hope you'll support them and be friends with them too. Thanks for always being supportive of our synth friends. Let's see. Movie night is the next stream. That's going to be on Saturday. Let me see where we're at. Who's winning movie night? If you're in our Discord, you get to vote on movie night. Ikari XB1 looks like it's winning right now. But
I can't wait, dude. I got the movie memorized, dog. I love that movie.
I know, I love that movie so much. So basically, this weekend, it's my birthday. So Ikari,
that's your birthday movie.
Ikari XB1 would definitely be my birthday choice, but everybody who's in the Discord, you can vote on the movie. So,
by the way, we did do a Cosmic Tape Music Club episode on Zednik Liska.
We did?
Yeah.
It was like one of our first ones.
One of our first ones.
We used to do our podcast inside of our...
That is the composer of the soundtrack of Ikari XB1.
That's right.
Zednik.
So the composer of that movie, Ikari XB1, is one of our favorites. One of the best early electronic music scores for a film, for a sci-fi film. So that would be epic to have that be my birthday movie night. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We were going to talk about that new Teenage Engineering record player.
Oh, yeah.
But we didn't really get around to it. Maybe we'll talk about that on Sunday. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else going on. I don't think so. Just that it's my birthday. Oh, I was going to say, it's my birthday coming up. So if anybody wants to buy us a sci-fi movie on our Amazon wish list, that's another cool way you can support us besides like subbing or whatever. There's some fun movies on that list. I think it's just movies right now. We were gonna say that we really want to get that Teenage Engineering record player and make custom like 5-inch live cuts of Buchla stuff as like a thing we could do. But that's for another chat. So definitely, join our Discord if you're not already. Give us a follow if you don't already. Thank you for all your support for everyone who already does all those things and for your subs. Like it means so much to us, especially as we had that goal recently of hitting 200 followers and we have smashed past that so quickly. It's crazy. Our next goal is 500. So we appreciate your follows and shares and hosts and all the fun things. Yeah, and we're always appreciative of you hanging out and all of your positive, supportive, fun comments for the guests. I'm excited to hear if anybody checks out Johnny's music or gets his VHS. Let us know. All right, now that we don't have a guest anymore, I can pull this up. We're going synth crazy. Oh, that's right. I have the other camera. There we go. Thank you all again for the hang. We're gonna go raid Grace Harpsit, which is a harp player, and I believe she's in the Golden Shrimp Guild community. So we hope you'll hang out with her with us, and we'll see you on Saturday for movie night.